everyone. We are back with Michelle Gray, wonderful medium, wonderful healer, and she is channeling Rod Serling from the Twilight Zone fame. And Erik, my son in the afterlife, is helping. My name is Dr. Lisa Matthews, and we're going to proceed with this chapter of the Rod Serling interview, Halloween and the Spirit of Mystery. Y'all go trick-or-treating, scare people. Anyway. Why do humans, Mr. Serling, love the spirit of Halloween itself? Not just the costumes and candy, but the atmosphere of mystery and darkness.
Because he says that the soul knows that what we see in our light spectrum is only just a small portion of what our reality really is. And he says the sense of Halloween, he says the feeling of it, there is a magical and mysterious feeling. Some of it will bring us back to a time in childhood, and some of it, he says, it brings us to question magic, question sensations, because the veil is thinner. He says the collective veil is much thinner at that time. And
Oh,
he's
wow,
also saying
really?
that many people feel that, many sensitives feel that. Some may feel it in feeling a little extra scared. Some may feel it in feeling a little extra, he says, uh, he's actually saying sacred, like feeling a special, like a
Okay.
special feeling because they feel that connection. And he says it's actually around a very, like he's saying, it's around a very religious or sacred holiday. Like he's going back into history and he's saying that's what's felt at that time. It's that connection to the spiritual realm. He
Oh,
also says that it's a time where the world, many people take off the this is who I am every day, and now I get to be something else. And he says Halloween is a very good time, he says, to really look at humanity because what they dress themselves up as
there's a
will
lot.
tell you, give you a little peek into the inside.
Ooh, interesting. All right, my first one was Tweety Bird, so I don't know what that says about me, but do you think horror helps us find beauty in the night and in the unknown instead of just fear?
He says it
Oh,
invites the beauty of the night.
oh,
He says
interesting.
it is all about the fear that is inside of you. What is your fear? He says the night will introduce you to your shadows, but your shadows are too beautiful. They are beautiful, and that's why exploring the shadows is what brings
Oh.
us into the light.
Oh, wow. So here's a, a question that's not the next one, but it makes sense to ask this now. What makes the night, darkness, and shadow so powerful in storytelling and imagination?
Because he says all good things happen in the quiet and the dark. He says if we learn to quieten ourselves down in the dark corners, he says that is where the stories lie. They rarely lie in the hustle and bustle and busyness. They lie in the dark, in the corners, in the quiet, just waiting to come out to play.
Fascinating. So why do Gothic stories and tragic monsters like Dracula and Frankenstein feel so human and relatable? Oh, I had such a crush on the Dracula that was can't remember. It was right before Mary Jane's Magic Castle. Anyway, I'll think of it. But I had a crush on the actor. But I still had a crush on you, Rod. So anyway, let me repeat the story. Why do Gothic stories and tragic monsters like Dracula and Frankenstein feel so human and relatable?
Because he says that these stories touch parts of us inside of where we can identify with them. He says we can identify with the feeling of loneliness, the feeling of being judged, of being misunderstood,
Yeah.
of
Like Phantom of
feeling
the
like we
Opera.
don't fit.
Phantom of the Opera is a perfect example of that. I felt so
Yes.
sorry for him. I wanted to give him a hug.
he says that
Mm.
the when we see vulnerability or when we feel it, a protective nature comes up. And he says, especially for those that are empathic,
Yeah.
because many empathic individuals will feel that underdog. It's the
Yeah.
underdog,
Like
even
Quasimodo
though,
too. Poor
yes,
Quasimodo. Yeah.
yes. He says,
Right.
because all monsters need love.
Yeah. Everybody does. Why do humans feel a thrill during Halloween that they don't experience at other times of the year?
Well, he says, like he was saying before, there is a with the word Halloween in itself. He says there is a history, there is layered energy. And so he says the word and that time of year brings that energy. So
To the
even
collective.
speaking it
Yeah.
to the collective, yes. And the
Okay.
veil, yes, the veil being thin.
Okay. Why do people enjoy scaring themselves with horror movies, ghost stories, and haunted houses? Did we already do this? Answer
Mm-hmm.
that. We did that in part one, I think. So, and I
Mm-hmm.
think you answered this one too. What is it about masks and costumes that fascinates humans? Is it about hiding or is it about revealing their true selves?
He said both.
Okay. All right.
Both.
Why do people often identify with monsters and outsiders in horror and Halloween stories? In horror and Halloween stories. Why do they identify with them? Maybe they feel misunderstood and lonely.
Yes, he says I when we identify with a character in a story, it's because we can identify with different parts of ourselves that has felt that way. And so
Mhm.
he says many times we're seeing the perspective of a story, and depending on what the story is, we may or may not make assumptions, he says, to what's going on behind the scenes. And he's actually showing me an individual that's watching the story and is going in their own mind, like watching a movie, going in their own mind, going, what would I do if that was me? That's how I would
Oh,
feel. Or I
oh, I
felt like
see.
that before. So he says it may be a different scenario, but he says many know the isolated feelings
Yeah,
inside.
absolutely. So, do you think the spirit of Halloween is about playfulness or about exploring hidden truths in the human psyche, or both?
He says it's both. It
Okay.
is all. He says it is he says it's a glorious reason to play, to be something else, but he says it is a search for truth. Is in a world that one truth is not the truth. There are many.
Okay. How do you see horror and imagination working together to create the magic of Halloween?
He says uh because you don't need to give all the detail. He says
Oh,
to make a good horror story, he says you don't need the gore. He
yeah.
says you just need the
Thank
right
God.
timing and pace of the story.
Okay. So why are they so drawn to Halloween? I mean, partly it's the candy, but not for my kids. I would find their basket of candy under their bed a year later, you know? But is it because they still feel wonder and mystery and fear? Or is it something else?
He says because the ordinary turns extraordinary. He
Ooh.
says that which is ordinary. And so what he's showing me is he's actually showing me the front of your house, Elisa, and he just turned it into a haunted house. So what
Ooh.
he's showing me
Yeah,
is
we've done that before. Yeah.
right, like it's an everyday home. Here's the home, and then all of a sudden
Oof.
night
All these
comes and
statues, creepy.
everybody turns into something else.
Yeah.
And so he says that is he says for a child, many children are in that world all the time,
Yeah.
but not everybody else joins it with them.
Yeah.
And so he says Halloween, everybody joins the show, everybody is part of it.
That's great. So why do you think horror often contains humor and why the two go so well together during Halloween? Maybe it's just comic relief. I mean, you can only take so much horror
Yes, he
before you
says
have a
that
heart attack.
he says it's there to help break the heaviness.
Yeah. Okay. So, how do traditions like jack-o'-lanterns, haunted houses, and ghost stories keep the imagination alive? Well, it takes imagination to create those things, obviously, and to create the mystery around them and the fear around them. But what do you think?
He says, he's saying, like he's actually showing me how that there's like such an industry feel to Halloween, like how there's this, everybody has these stories and you can buy pumpkins that like have he's showing me digital faces and everything. And he just said, getting right down to the nostalgic, he says flickering light of a jack-o'-lantern,
Yeah,
getting right down to the old
the
stories.
candle inside of it. Yeah,
Yes,
I still do it
yes,
that way.
yeah.
So, do you think Halloween reminds people that fear can be fun, not just terrifying?
Yes, he says it's giving a message to the truth that the shadows are not as scary as we think they are.
Mm, that's true. I mean, what the hell can happen to us? The worst that happened to us is what? We're eternal beings, right, guys? Even death
Yes,
is not going to end us.
that's
So,
right.
if you would create a Twilight Zone Halloween special today, what would that story tell? In a synopsis, you can say.
Well, he's saying that, um, okay, well, he just showed me current state of affairs in the world.
Mm,
And he
that's a
says
horror
that
story right there.
that's where he's going.
Okay.
He's saying that there would be, he would feel drawn to uh, pulling out some of the, he says, double sided, speaking out both ends. He says people that are uh, speaking one way and actions in the other. He
Oh,
says
yeah.
that he would create a story
Yeah.
within that the world would feel, because he says that where our world is right now is in the heart, and we're moving up in the heart as
Yeah.
a collective. And so he says truth is important to be given in doses that people can handle, because there is so much that is happening right now. So he
Yeah.
says he would create a series that would help people unload some of the stress of what's happening in the world, and to show them a slightly different container to look
Yeah.
at.
Fascinating. So, what do you think Halloween reveals about humanity's deep relationship with imagination, mystery, and fear? Or have we covered that already?
Well, he says we have touched the edges of this conversation in different ways. And he says what I will say to that is that he says the collective humanity is working through fear, and understanding that fear is not something to push aside, but it's something to work with. It's something to understand that we have the energy of fear to
Yeah.
do things with.
Yeah.
And so he says that we've really touched upon the question in different areas. So he doesn't have a lot more to say
Okay.
about that.
Okay. All right. Now we're going to talk, I think, about episodes here. I think these are some of your episodes. Many alien stories, like The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street, were really about human paranoia. Was that intentional? Mm,
He's saying that, um okay, so this is he's showing me neighbors, and he says when you live in areas that have very thin walls, paper thin walls, he says that it's all about human behavior. And he's showing me that there's different individuals in his life that he knew, that
mhm.
he would pull these stories from, or he would get the ideas from. He
Okay.
also had a deep fascination with dimensions.
Yes,
So,
I can tell
yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
So there's this one episode called The Gift. It's about an alien in Mexico with a cure for disease who was killed out of fear. Were you warning that paranoia will always hold us back? And fear
Yes, he
breeds
says that
hatred.
he was So he was using the alien as representing differences, race.
Yeah.
And so, because there was such great fear
Yeah.
and separation, judgment. And so he says that he unconsciously was using the example of an alien to bring in something that wasn't a current race on Earth
I
that
see.
we were. So he was using it in that way. But he says that that awareness, um, like bringing that in, was very easy for him. And he says, "Did I know there was more? Yes, I knew. Yes."
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean that's like fear of people or something being different always breeds, not always, but seems to breed hatred. This is what's going on in the world now. Fear brings hatred, brings violence. Hope it stops soon. So if you were writing about aliens today, would you portray them as threats, saviors, or something in between?
He says that he would present them as the neighbor next door,
Oh,
as new people moving in to
okay.
get to know them.
Oh, like Coneheads, one of my favorite movies.
He says no, he would not be bringing them in as a threat.
Okay. All right, next topic and last one we're going to cover today, and there will be a part three though. But first, go ahead and just hit the notification bell so you guys don't forget, and just like and subscribe right now too, unless you already have. All right, you said the human psyche is both fascinating and tragic. That's a deep statement. What did you mean by that?
Like he says, it's fascinating. It is fascinating. And he says the hard part is he says at the time that he was alive, such great misunderstanding with the depth of the human psyche.
Yeah.
And he says, because the human psyche can convince itself of things and it can also deny itself of things. He says,
Mm,
not understanding our own psyche and not understanding its possibilities, he says, creates a great deal of fear. And at the time that he was alive, he says that the psyche can bring in, he says, so much that is not understood for us to explore. But he says the fear of being viewed as sick, diseased,
yeah.
that holds back so much of that exploration,
Yeah, it's too
to
bad.
the point where people just don't do it because it's been so ingrained in them
Mm. Like the
that
kid
there's
who
something
has an
wrong.
imaginary friend who's probably a spirit guide or something, or a relative, deceased relative, and you tell them, "Ugh, you're crazy. It's not happening."
Yes.
So that could squelch their imagination and their communication with the spirit world.
Yes.
Hmm. All right, you've described imagination as bigger and more profound than we recognize. Can you explain how you see imagination shaping human life? Or have we already covered that enough?
We did. Yeah, we went into that.
Okay. So here's the next one then. Do you think humans underestimate their own ability to understand complex ideas and truths?
Yes.
I guess some, right?
Yes. He says, um, like he was saying before, many times human beings will cut themselves off to rationalize, that they will rationalize what they are receiving or looking at. And when they cannot find the rationality for it, it's considered to be disregarded, useless.
Yeah. Oh,
And he says, which is not so. He says it is, he says it is a delicate practice to weave through it, because he says that some people are able to do it much easier than others. And he says it's a design, it's built that way. Not
okay.
everybody is to explore it the same way.
Okay. So you talked about the human drive for exploration and innovation. Do you see this as a natural progression of the human mind? I do.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he says that our understanding of ourselves, we are truly in pioneer ages
Yeah.
of that right now, but it is
Hmm.
moving quickly. And he says we are advancing quickly. And he says we have energetically advanced our minds, he says the way that we communicate. Oh, he's showing a multi-dimensional, that's what we're moving towards, is connecting to multi-dimensional reality, because that's the way that we're built. And so he sees that, but he says the physical needs to catch up. So that's what's
That's what's holding us
he says
back.
that. Yeah, he just showed me big roadblocks.
Oh, God. All right. Now, in your view, how are humans resourceful and creative in ways we don't always give ourselves credit for?
He says human beings are extremely resourceful, more than what we would imagine. He says that um, it, give a human circumstances that they think they could never deal with, and then they deal with them. They are able to make things out of nothing. He says, I go back to my mother. My
Mm,
mother was very resourceful.
she had to be.
And he says that human beings will think, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it, because the mind will go into the fears or the worries, I'm not good enough. And he
Yeah.
says that is not true. He says that is programming that is telling you to be cautious. And he says, when you understand that everything that you've done physically has already been done, he says the human beings. Oh, sorry, I got a little bit off track there. Sorry, you started to give me some pictures. Can you just repeat that last bit? Because he's trailing off a little bit there. Can you repeat the last bit of the question?
Oh, okay. Uh, well, in your view, how are humans resourceful and creative in ways we
Oh,
don't always
okay,
give
okay,
ourselves credit for?
okay.
Thought you were asking him.
Well, I kind of was, because he was showing me some visuals. He was going into his mother, and I'll just tell
Oh,
you,
okay.
he was also showing me his father a pair of shoes. This is where I was getting a little sidetracked, because there's like a repair. His father was like repairing shoes or something that had come from a garbage, because
Okay.
he's
Oh,
showing it to me picked out, and like they're repairing it to wear them. And so he's just saying, if you give a human being a situation, if you give a human being um, something that may seem not useful to one, but is to another, they can do amazing things with it. But he's also showing me like fires and different tragedies that take place. And he's showing me how human beings come together.
yeah.
They're resourceful, how they're able to do things. And he showed me the fires. So when I was just trailing off, he was showing me how community or people that maybe didn't know each other, and they, everything gets wiped out, everything gets taken. And he says that that's where you see humanity and the resourcefulness and things that can be done, where
Yeah.
human
People
beings
come
realize
together.
how strong they
People
are.
come together
Yes.
to help
Yes,
one
because he
another.
says we
It's
are very
amazing.
strong.
It's amazing about human beings. Big tornadoes wipe out communities. Others are hurricanes. Others are there to help. I mean,
Yeah.
it's from all over the world sometimes. So
Yes.
necessity is the mother of invention, right?
Yes.
All right. Do you believe that innovation and creativity are driven more by curiosity or by necessity? I would say both.
Oh,
I mean,
both. Yes.
curiosity, that's the soul's yearning to express itself.
Yes.
And
He says
necessity
both.
is the soul's desire to survive.
That's right.
I don't think I channeled that because I'm not that smart, but it sounded pretty good. So, what would you say, Mr. Serling?
He agrees. He agrees.
Okay.
He says yes, that both. Absolutely.
All right. This last bit is a combination of two questions because they're pretty much very similar. You emphasize the importance of comedy and laughter in the human experience. First of all, what do you think humor, why do you think humor is such a vital balance to fear and tragedy? And what role does comic relief play in helping humans cope with fear, horror, or even daily life? You want to do that one at a time or at the same time?
Well, I think he answered the one just about humor, like with
Yeah.
horror and that. So he answered that part, and just that it breaks the energy. And he says that in everyday life, as a coping mechanism, he says finding the light and the funny in everyday circumstances,
Yeah.
he says, is a quick and easy way to be able to balance out the heaviness. He says
Okay.
there are things that we experience that are hard. Yes. He
Yeah.
says finding laughter and finding humor in everything, he says, is an essential practice to
Yeah.
keeping ourselves healthy.
Insane. Anything else you want to share, Mr. Sherlin? Until part three?
He is just saying that he's enjoying this opportunity. He wants to tell you that he and Erik have swapped stories. He
Oh,
says
horror
that
stories.
he says that he wants to tell you that you have a dimly lit hallway for a green room that Erik brought him into. And he says that
Oh,
he's done a fine job helping set up for today. And he just would like to thank you and to everyone listening.
well, thank
And
you.
he's doing this voice. He says, and to everyone listening, be well.
Oh, that's great. All right, thank you. You guys hit again the like and subscribe button and stay tuned for part three, Halloween series.
Cool.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Love you. Thank
Love
you
you.
guys. Bye.